Hey there everyone, it's Baka here. Welcome to another episode of the Wide World of Geek. I believe this is episode number 5, and this is my Batman episode. For those of you who have been living under a rock, The Dark Knight Rises came out this past week. This was the third and final installment of the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy. You had Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and now The Dark Knight Rises. Now, as was made abundantly clear in the trailers, this movie dealt with the coming of Bane, the introduction of Catwoman, and if you've read any of the comics or know any of Batman's history, you know that with Bane there, you're going to get some nasty battles. You're going to get the possibility of Bane breaking the bat. And with Catwoman there, you're going to have this interesting love scene, not love scene, but relationship dynamic. And you're not disappointed with this movie. I'm going to stay spoiler-free with this. This is actually my second recording of this. My last one took 18 minutes, and I've got to make it much shorter. But this movie is a good finish to this series. It's not nearly as strong as Batman Begins or The Dark Knight. And it's, I don't think there's a way to close out a trilogy that's going to satisfy everybody. Especially not with a character that you know is still going, still has adventures, has many more villains that you could put in. You know, you could go on with Batman movies forever. But Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale said this is their last one. They're done. They're going to get out. But there are a few points to this movie that I found were really interesting. There was the introduction of Ra's al Ghul's heir, his child, and any of you who read the comics, they know who the child is. And Christopher Nolan does not break from that. So if you see any trailers that make it seem like another character might be the child of Ra's al Ghul, don't believe it. Now, that's as close to spoiler as I'm going to get. I will say this: Anne Hathaway as Catwoman stole the show. I'm not the first person to say this. I was listening to a few other things, a few podcasts that mentioned the same exact thing. The way Catwoman was written was excellent. She was not absolutely central to the story. She showed up a number of different times for small bits. You got great interaction between Anne Hathaway as Selina Kyle and Bruce Wayne, between Catwoman and Batman. And at the point when Catwoman ends up learning that Batman is Bruce Wayne, I was shocked that she was surprised. It was very much comic book-like, where all of these things have been pointing exactly towards this, and you're still shocked. So that was a little odd, but it worked. They make her such a strong character with such great lines that if they wanted to do a Catwoman movie starring Anne Hathaway that follows Selina Kyle of the comics and not Halle Berry's embarrassment, do it. It would actually be really fun. There are a number of Catwoman stories that you could choose from. Go with Catwoman When in Rome. It's an excellent graphic novel. It works well. It's very much in the style of Christopher Nolan. There are a few issues, like just a line near the end of the movie that disappointed me. There was some speculation on this, and I'm not going to tell you it, because that would be spoilery, and I'm going to stay away from that. But if you haven't seen it, go see The Dark Knight Rises. I recommend seeing it at the IMAX. It's a little more expensive, but it makes the experience much better. It looked awesome on the IMAX. Bigger screen, better sound, better clarity. I can't wait for it to come out on Blu-ray. I guess that means I should probably buy The Dark Knight on Blu-ray. Complete that set. One other bit of Batman news. Batman Earth 1 came out in the last 2 weeks at least. I'm not sure if it was last week or the week before. This is written by Jeff Johns and with art by Gary Frank. This is it's not a canon story. It's not in the normal DC universe. Granted, what's normal in the DC universe anymore? I don't know. This is very much similar to Superman Earth 1. It's a much more real-world story. It's got your normal characters. It's got Bruce Wayne. It's got Alfred Pennyworth. It's got Barbara Gordon. It's got Jim Gordon, Penguin. It's got a couple other characters that are known to the DC fans. But these are much more real-world versions of them. Bruce Wayne, yeah, he's rich, but he doesn't have all this super special training that he's gone through years and years and years. There's a point at the end of the book where Alfred basically points out, hey, your parents' murder was a random occurrence. It was a robbery gone bad. There's no conspiracy. You don't have to be the Batman anymore. You don't have to do this. And Batman's going, yes, I do. It's not about them now. It's about stopping the bad things that are going on in my city. Which is a much more sensible approach to this. I mean, you can only take revenge so far. Now, one of the things that I said, Batman doesn't have all the training, which is kind of hilarious because one of the very first scenes is as Batman, he tries jumping from rooftop to rooftop, misses, falls, lands in the garbage or something similar, and goes, ouch. So, I mean, you fall, you get hurt, you react with ouch or ow. Batman doesn't say ow, but this is, I mean, talk about Batman Year 1, this is Batman Year 1. It's very interesting. I haven't read the whole thing. I flipped through it at the bookstore, ready to go. Second thing I'm going to talk about is, for all those movie fans out there, one of my favorite movies is a movie called Elizabethtown. This movie stars Orlando Bloom and Kirsten Dunst, and it takes place in a small town outside of Louisville, Kentucky called Elizabethtown. Now, I have lived outside of Louisville, Kentucky for 3 years, and have never been there, even though this has been one of my favorite movies since before I moved here. Today, I felt the need to finally go and see what this town was like. Is it just like the movie? Nope. The movie makes it seem like it's a small, quaint little town, nice little downtown area with quaint small town shops. And yeah, it's got that kind of small town feel in the very downtowny section. You get south of downtown and it's more industrial. You get north of downtown, that's where all your commerce is. Now, it's got a large commercial area, and it kind of has to. It's got Louisville to its northeast. It's got Fort Knox just to its north. So you've got, I mean, you've got a military base right there, and people need somewhere to shop. And getting to Louisville is just a little too far for casual shopping. So they've got your Best Buy, they've got your Barnes & Noble, they've got a mall. They've got dozens and dozens of restaurants there. There's a Sonic there, and then you go 5 miles north maybe, and there's another Sonic. Which is unfair because Southern Indiana lost all of its Sonics in the last 3 years. So I was a little weirded out by that, a little disappointed. But hey, I spent almost all my time in Barnes & Noble working on ideas for a new board game, which I think will be cool, which you'll get more information when I get it better prepared. Last little bit is a question for you guys. If you could leave answers in the comment section, I would really appreciate it. I just recently bought a snowball microphone by Blue Microphones, and it works fine. I've tested it out, used Audacity to record things. It records fine. It's got slightly better sound than my webcam mic. However, when I go to use my webcam program, even though it will show up as the mic I can use, I get no sound. I haven't figured this out. If I can't figure it out soon, I'm going to be calling Logitech and trying to figure it out, because it has something to do with the webcam. If anyone of you has had this problem before, let me know. Last little bit, Friday will be a Friday workshop where we're going to be looking at perspective drawing. This will be a two-part episode. The first episode is going to be on single-point perspective. The second part will be multi-point perspective, most likely dealing with two-point perspective to keep everything kind of clear and concise. If you are interested in drawing, and if you're interested in drawing things looking accurately in space, three-dimensionally, things along those lines, this is a nice, simple lesson, and it will make your life a whole lot easier. If you're an interior designer, if you're an illustrator, watch this episode. It will help out. I teach this same lesson to my intro class in high school, and they get it. It's not all that difficult. But until Friday, you guys have a good week. Stay out of the heat, and I'll see you guys later.